If you are the creative type that's ever dreamed about creating a line of your own, whether it be jewelry or clothing, look no further than my conversation with Elizabeth Wasserman as we dig deep into what it takes to really create a line of jewelry that stands out among all of the others. I love talking to Elizabeth. She says jewelry is an extension of a person's individuality and strength, an external, unspoken statement about who we are and what brings us peace, inner beauty, and balance. When that perfect piece speaks to you, it's an instantaneous connection. And I can attest to that statement being very true to who Elizabeth is as we talk about really making a brand that connects you with the customer, increases sales, and gives you peace of mind and fills your cup. Motherhood and design can go hand in hand. Let's hear how Elizabeth made it work for her. So you want to make an impact. You're thinking about starting a business, sharing your voice. How do women do it that handle motherhood, family, and still chase after those dreams? Well, listen each week as we dive into the stories of women who know. This is Call Me CEO. Welcome back, everyone, to the show. I am thrilled to have Elizabeth Wasserman here with us today, a true designer and genius of all things jewelry, and she has recently launched a clothing line. I cannot wait to speak to you about your business, Elizabeth. Thank you so much for being here today.
Oh, it's my pleasure. I'm so happy that you had me. Thank you.
Yeah. So tell our audience a little bit about you, your life. We do like to talk about our kids here. So do a little gush moment on your kids, where you live, and a little bit behind the scenes of your business and how you got started.
Okay. My favorite topic. I am a mother of two amazing children and one for baby. My son is in medical school. My daughter is a sophomore in college. And, so it's really now just my husband and my dogs these days. So my business has definitely filled the void of not being a full hands-on mom, which is what I'm used to being. I guess I started this business when my youngest is my daughter, and when she was in fourth grade, I sort of felt like I was a fundraiser back in my previous life for a couple of different nonprofits, and I always had this creative feeling inside of me. My parents were in the fine diamond jewelry business. So I was always surrounded by jewelry and always, wanted to do something with that maybe in the near future. But I was like the fun jewelry. They had the beautiful, fine diamonds, and I always wanted to do the fun, and they would get mad at me because they had all these beautiful things they would give me, and I just wanted to wear the fun things. And so I knew that there was something out there for me eventually. But after when my daughter was in fourth grade, I decided to start and took a couple of courses and saw that it was just, I was kind of a natural at creating, and it kind of spinned off from that. I was making one-of-a-kind pieces, and it was well received from the get-go, and I was very excited. So it gave me my customers gave me the inspiration to keep going, and eventually I wanted to do something that was just mine, because I would go to shows and I would pick things and I would put them together, and so I would have one-of-a-kind pieces, and then that evolved into really creating my own jewelry line, and then eventually the apparel line, which just came recently. So that's really how it evolved.
What a fascinating journey. I'm really curious to hear about your parents. So they were in the fine jewelry, diamonds, the glittery things, all of that, which I absolutely love, actually.
So do I.
So tell me, how did they get started in that? And you followed in their footsteps, but then took it your own way. Was that something that your parents were happy for you to do, or were they hoping that you would take over their business? Or tell me a little bit more about that.
I think that they, I would come with them during the summers, and I would help with customers. And my stepfather was a gemologist, so he liked to sort of create. They created some of their own pieces, but they were pretty much, they would go to shows and they would buy pieces, and they dealt with engagement rings and beautiful pieces and things like that. And not so much of the creation part, which is the part that I really liked. I don't know. I went to college and I studied marketing and advertising and wanted to do something like that. I don't even think it was a thought that I would eventually do the jewelry. I think my stepfather maybe kind of hoped that I would take it over. But at that time, I wanted to just do something completely different. I wasn't interested in the jewelry. I thought that I would do advertising. I don't know what I thought I was going to do back then. But when I moved to Miami after graduating, I worked for Miami City Ballet in their marketing and advertising department. And then that led to fundraising, and it just took me completely into a different direction. But it really, being in Miami, I grew up in Houston, so I'm from Houston, Texas. So being in Miami and being with all the different, the diverse cultures and all of that, just, I don't know, it started something in me. It really inspired me to do something creative. And that sort of evolved into jewelry. I kind of fell into it. It was really out of a necessity to want to do something, seeing my children growing up and knowing that they weren't going to need me as much. I was such a hands-on mom, and I felt that I needed something just for me. So it really kind of started as a hobby. It was more for fun and starting to put things together. And I remember my first show, and I was holding my breath, and I put all my jewelry out, and I had an unbelievable turnout. I mean, all these women from the PTA and all of my, friends came and they supported me. And I was holding my breath the whole time. I couldn't even watch because I felt like I was laying there naked for everyone to see. I mean, it was so scary because I had never done anything like that before. I mean, I never thought of my grandmother was an artist. She was a painter. And so I never really thought of myself. I would dabble in art. I always liked it, but I never thought I was that good at it. So it was sort of, I never took courses in it. And it did come sort of evolve sort of organically and naturally. And that's what I love so much about it. And if you see my pieces from the beginning to now, and as I said, we celebrated our 10th anniversary last spring, it's changed dramatically. I mean, I was, kind of boho chic from the beginning, and then I was more like finer jewelry, more diamonds, and then now I'm a little bit more everyday, speaks to a lot more a broader clientele. And it's been a fun path. It really has. It's funny how things evolve as you change, your products change.
Absolutely. So this business, you've been running it now for 10 years.
Yes.
Take me back to 10 years ago when you were launching this business and you were putting yourself out there, laying naked, so to speak. What was that transition like for you? And when did you decide that this was a business, that you were really going to commit to it and it was this transition?
I think it was, I would say about a year into it when I saw, how it was evolving, that people were actually interested in it. I think at first I was like, all right, I just, maybe I didn't want to put myself out there wholeheartedly. So I thought, all right, let me feel the waters. Let me see how this goes. And it sort of, I don't know, it kind of evolved on its own. After a year, I realized, okay, this could happen. This could work. And at first I thought I was going to rep a jewelry line. A friend of mine did that. And I thought, okay, I could possibly rep a jewelry line. And I looked into it. And then I thought, well, I kind of want this to be something from me. And I thought, let me give it a stab. Let me see how it goes. Obviously that first, everyone was being very kind and buying the first time. After that, it was a little bit more challenging to get repeat customers and new customers and, all of that. But, I would say about a year into it, I realized, okay, I can make a go of this. We may not be able to live off of it, but I can make a go of it. And, it's been an interesting ride.
Now, the jewelry business, in my understanding, is very competitive, but there's also a very high markup opportunity. My sister has told me about the shows in Vegas and all the other shows that you can go to. And she says, I have wanted to go with her, but I have not made it. But she said it's so fun. It's so overwhelming because there is so much available, and it's also a very competitive space. So how do you feel that you were able to stand out in that market? Tell me a little bit about your marketing and how you were able to do that.
That's an interesting question because that's the whole thing. I really started homegrown, and I think I'm still a little homegrown. I am still going through that process. It's sort of I feel that my supporters, my clientele have been unbelievable, and they come back for more pieces, and they've been extremely supportive. But really the marketing part of it and getting out there has been a little bit more challenging. Social media is definitely a must. I feel that I've grown in social media organically. I feel that I finally have created, I think the most challenging thing is creating your brand and creating something unique, because it's very hard. You want to be everything to everyone, and you have to realize you can't be. And that's what I was doing with the one-of-a-kind pieces. I was sort of doing a little bit of this and a little bit of that, and I was everywhere. And I feel like it just didn't get me where I needed to be to actually create my name and my brand. So I needed to just tighten up, slow down, really focus on who my customer base is and what I really wanted to do and what message I wanted to get out there. And unfortunately, I mean, some customers really appreciated the one of a kind. And I always said, I'm going to get back to that and do a little bit of that eventually once I, get this going. But, because I enjoyed that. I really did. I enjoyed creating with my hands. Right now, I design with my hands. I design the pieces, but I have manufacturers who make the pieces for me. I'm actually wearing a couple of them right now. But I don't weld. I don't do all of that. It was, easier to bead. I was beading and I was doing and putting things together. And that really was so fun for me because I love designing with my hands. So now I'm creating, and it's a little bit more challenging now. Once you have to reach the point, you have to say, okay, am I doing this for a hobby? Am I doing this because it's so much fun to be a designer, or am I doing this as a business? And so that was a really big step for me to decide that I wanted to jump over to the business side. And that's been the hardest part, because I am the CEO and I'm also the designer. All I want to do is design all day, but I have to do all of the other. I have to do the marketing. I have to do the publicity, everything. Sometimes I'm even my own photographer. So I just, I'll even sometimes still grab my daughter to take pictures, even though I do have some models. And, you go through your phases. COVID's been interesting because I had to actually go back and I had to be my own photographer because I couldn't bring anyone in. So, that's what you have to decide. If you want to just keep this small and enjoy that part of it and enjoy the designing, or do you want to actually take it and become something nationally? But it's very challenging. There are a lot of amazing designers out there, and you can get very caught up in it and say, oh, I'm not as good as this one. And that's already out there. And really actually just figuring out what your niche is and what you want to contribute out there, and staying true to it and just really sticking to it, even if it's going to take a long time to get there. So it's, I do encourage all women who want to do this, and it's not easy. It really isn't.
What would you say your business philosophy is?
My business philosophy is simple. I mean, it's really to create timeless quality pieces that mean something, that have heart and soul, and that really speak to my customers. Nothing gives me more satisfaction when I see someone and they're wearing my pieces. They don't know that I'm going to see them. They're wearing my pieces, or I'll get pictures. That's my favorite thing in the world, is to get pictures from people enjoying and wearing their stuff, or buying it as a gift. Oh, I have a friend who's overcoming cancer. I want to get her a SOAR sweatshirt, SOAR, SOAR, that has a butterfly. I mean, it has symbolic meanings. And that's why I came up with the it's love, shine, soar, shield, and luck. And I just feel like it speaks to everyone. So my business philosophy has really been to create something that's solid, that's something that people will wear every day, that they'll have for a long period of time, that they can enjoy. And you have to have fun. You have to have fun with what you're doing.
Yes.
Once it's not fun anymore, it's because you can get very bogged down with all of the other mundane. And if it's not fun and you don't feel that it's really contributing something or what you originally wanted it to, then it's just not. Then you have to revisit your philosophy, your business philosophy, and your game plan.
I agree with that. Now, you had talked about finding a manufacturer. Is that something that you outsourced outside of the country, or how did you find someone that really fit your vision and the quality that you were looking for?
I think that's the hardest thing as a manufacturer, as a designer, if I could design it myself. I put very stringent policies on my manufacturers. I don't I'll send back so many things. I wanted to manufacture in the United States. I really, really did.
We all do, but it's hard.
I really did. I tried so hard. It's, I hate to say it, it's very expensive, and that was going to trickle down to my customer. I wanted to keep it something affordable, for everyone. Wanted to keep it, I found someone who I thought was going to work out, and he couldn't fulfill the time frame that I needed. I mean, it would take months, and I didn't have that. So the most important thing is finding someone you trust that can create your vision, and have it done in a timely manner to be able to fulfill time frames, because that's the biggest problem, is that they'll promise and you just don't get it. And I gave so many people, chances and more, because I'm that kind of a person. I really believe in someone. I want to help someone. I wanted to help them grow at the same time. We were going to grow together, and it just didn't work out. So actually I was at a jewelry show in Miami, and I was asking around, and I met someone who he's out of New York, but he has a big manufacturing company in India. And it took us a while to get there. It took us a while because I don't think he really, it's hard because you're also not there, and you're talking over the phone, and the time difference is tremendous. I mean, there's a day that goes by that I won't hear back because I'm up when he's sleeping, and it's very hard.
Yeah.
So to try to convey what I needed, we were finally really getting there. And then COVID happened. We were working on the next piece, and it came out fabulous. And he finally, got what I wanted. And then we had to put everything on hold. Nobody's wearing jewelry right now, unfortunately, in their living room. So things have been put on hold for the jewelry line, which is then what created the apparel line. But I think when you find someone you can trust and who really understands your vision, I also feel that sometimes you do have to go to different manufacturers for different needs. I have I'm proud to say that my manufacturing is all done in the United States for my apparel line. I was working really hard to try to do that. And I was able to find someone who can do all of my embroidery and my screen printing here in Miami, actually. So that's been an incredible, relief to me to be able to do that. It really, it helps when you can really sit down with someone and explain what you want, what your vision is, and you get the quality that you want. But I definitely wouldn't discourage anyone from using someone in another country. It is, we all want to support the United States, but it's nice to get different ideas from worldly kind of balance, I think is nice.
Building a successful business takes a clear understanding of your goals and where you want to go. That is why I love Cube Money. It is an app card combo that allows me to assign a purpose to each dollar in my checking account. No more wondering where you stand in regards to your bills, because with each transaction, you make a mental check-in with your balance. Create goals and stick with them in your lifestyle and business so you can live more and stress less. Go to cubemoney.com/Camille to get started today. That's Cube spelled Qube money.com today, and make those dreams a reality. So for those that are listening and have maybe never thought about looking into manufacturing or producing a product, in my experience, you want to have a very detailed deck of what it is that you're looking for, the parameters, the materials that are used. And typically they'll send you a sample beforehand that you can examine, look at the quality, the texture. I went through this with a process of creating blankets and some different things. And a lot of times the communication can be an issue as well, because if there is something that isn't quite right about the product, you want to be able to convey that message to your manufacturer and to have the communication there. If that's not there, nothing's there. Would you agree with that?
100%. I do. I think that you need to make, from the very beginning, you have to convey what you want, exactly what you want. And samples are a must. You can't go and order 100 pieces, 1,000 pieces and not see a sample first. And then but remember, everything's done by hand. I like nothing's done, at least as far as my pieces, nothing's done in a machine. So you are going to get a variety. They'll understand what you want, but you may get a few pieces that are not exactly. But I think that's also the authenticity of it. I mean, I feel like if there's a little bit of, unless it's something major, if there's like a little defect or a little flaw that can actually add to the character of something, because it is all done by hand. And I think there's something to be said about that artisan, craftsmanship. So I think that, but I do agree that you need to set certain parameters from the beginning. You need to also you need to be, have your timeline and make sure that they can follow through on all of that. And maybe sample a couple of different manufacturers' work and get samples.
Yes,
but I think that's really important to see. And because you may not even realize what's out there and what they're able to produce. There's just so many talented manufacturers out there that are really excited to work with you. And you also have to feel that you've got, that they're listening to you, and that you are not one of thousands of customers. I kind of like the smaller companies that have the time to listen to me. And I'm not a large company. I'm a small company. And I like that they don't put strong minimums on me. The last thing you want is you've got to do like 1,000 of some piece in order. That's not really going to cut it for some of these smaller companies. You want to start small and see what the response is and see how that goes before you go on to the next.
Where do you think would be a good place to direct our audience to finding options for manufacturers? Is there a place that we could link them to in the show notes for that?
I think if they can get to shows, if they can go to shows, I think that's important. They can check and see in their community where the closest. I wouldn't say go run to New York right now. I mean, I think that you can find in your own local community. You may not. I mean, if you're from a small town, it might be a little harder. But Miami, Dallas, Atlanta, New York, they have great shows that are going on. Usually quarterly sometimes. So I think that's a great way to go, and you can actually meet with manufacturers. And that's how I met mine is that you go and you meet. I think in person, I think that's the best way. If you can't do that, I mean, obviously Google searching and finding, you can find, but it was hard. I tried to do that and it was hard. It was hard to find different manufacturers and, it'll take you through a rabbit hole, but sometimes you can find good manufacturers now. So you can definitely find a lot of manufacturers on Instagram. I think that if you search, there's so many talented manufacturers that are very excited to work with people from all different countries. I must get about 10 a week. That want to work with me.
That reach out to you.
That reach out to me and want to work with me on the apparel, on the jewelry line. So I think that that's a nice way to look. And then you can maybe find out what their credentials are, maybe talk to some of their clients if they have a list of clients and they're happy to, they want to get the business. So they're happy to pass that information on to you and definitely check resources. Definitely. I mean, check their clientele and find out, are they happy with them? Are they meeting your deadlines? Are they listening to you? Because that's the hardest thing is to really, for them to understand, especially if you are working with somebody that's out of the country or, even out of your state, that you just can't physically be there. Because
that's perfect. Yeah. I had never thought about looking on Instagram. That's really interesting, but that makes sense. I mean, that's a place where it's a worldwide market where people are looking and searching specific hashtags and everything else. So that makes a lot of sense. What do you think has been the most beneficial for sales for you with jewelry?
With jewelry, the most beneficial as far as what kind of jewelry? You mean necklaces versus bracelets versus that kind of thing? Or
no, more what do you think has made your business profitable with selling jewelry? What are tactics that you've done that have really gained traction for you? I know you talked a little bit about social media, but do you have like specific strategies that you use on social media or hashtags or engagement that others could maybe try?
I think that as far as social media, as I was saying, that your brand needs to really project a feel. And I think that going back to that, I post twice a day. I post and something inspirational. Well, my business lends itself to that because I'm all about the good vibes. It's all about good vibes and spreading love and happiness. So what I try to do is in the morning, I post something inspirational. And then in the afternoon, I'll post something from my collection. So I think that actually has been very beneficial. I think I bring in a lot of new supporters that way. They're searching for something that's going to fill a need. Right now, especially during this dark, challenging time that we've had, everybody needs a lot of positivity in their life. They need strength. They need, they need to feel that they have something that's giving them that, whether whatever it may be. But I feel that sometimes just wearing this shirt with love just brings me some good juju. It just makes me feel good. And I'm finding that a lot of my customers feel the same way. During Christmas, that's what they wanted to spread out there. They were buying a lot of gifts, the hats and the shirts and even the jewelry that had these messages. Hashtags are important. Hashtags are very important. I do look to see how many came to my site, how many came to my post, because you can do that. When you have a business, you can go and you can see the analytics and you can see what brought somebody over, how many were following you and how many came over through your hashtags. And I think hashtags are important. Definitely. I hashtag love, I hashtag luck, depending on what, good vibes, all of those kinds of things. I think whatever is relevant to you and your brand, I think definitely post that on there. That's been beneficial. This is the first year that last year was the first year I worked with a publicist. We approached several different influencers. That's a longer road. It's a longer road, and it's not a quick sell. It's something that you invest in, and it's something that can be very profitable, but it's not going to be something that's going to bring you a lot of sales. I mean, I even go to shows, before COVID, I was going to shows. I would go to bazaars. I would go to different things to get out there. And, that's a great way. If you can do that, if you have local little bazaars, I would say absolutely from the beginning. I mean, I know Tory Burch started with a little, she had a little stand and she sold out of her stand, and that's how she got her name out there. So don't be afraid to roll up your sleeves. And that to me is my most favorite. I love speaking to the customer. I do a lot of online, but my favorite is the person to person. I love working with customers. I love finding that exact piece that they're looking for, that they need for a gift or for themselves. And I think that for starting out, I think that's the best thing, is to start doing the bazaars and the shows and work your way up to whatever your goals are.
I love that. Speaking specifically to the heart of the customer and really seeing what it is that they want, because it's true with the things that we put on our body and the things that we read in our mind really affect our state of mind and the way that we feel about ourselves and others. And I want to speak a little bit to the balance of motherhood and running your business. What did you learn? I mean, your kids are now out of the nest, so to speak. You have a lot of experience with those launching periods where my youngest is 4. He's actually at preschool right now. And my oldest is 12. And so, I'm just stepping into the stage that you just got done with. What's some advice that you would give to the moms that are in the mix of the kids at home?
Balance is crucial. Balance is absolutely crucial. And I know you hear that all the time. And I know that self-care is the big, word now, self-care, but it's so important to find that balance. If you don't, you're going to lose yourself completely. You need to set aside time for yourself. I work out in the morning. First thing, I can't do anything until I work out, and then I can focus on the rest of the world. Yes, it was definitely more challenging when my kids were at home. And when I was running around with carpool and room mom and all of that other stuff, it was very challenging. And I didn't start until my daughter was 4. In fourth grade. So they were already starting to become a little more independent. But yes, they still needed me. There were still times. You have to carve out the times you have to be very organized. And that is very hard to do, but you have to be very organized and structured, and you have to set aside, okay, this is a time for me, this is a time for my business, and this is when I'm going to be there for my family. When I first started, I literally took my dining room table and I sat there and I don't think I ate or drank or got up for like, before that first show, I seriously sat there. I mean, I think that my friends would call me, are you still alive? Are we still friends? Are we like,
Yes.
I wasn't answering any calls. When my kids went to school, I sat down and I worked until it was time to pick them up and then do dinner and then focus on them. But I remember going into my room and then coming out and going, do you like this one? And then I would come out and go, do you like this one? I would come out and my family would have like a little modeling, shoot going on there. They would be my audience. So I think that's important. And I think that if you really want this to happen, you just carve out those times. I mean, if you have a little baby, then during that time, you carve out your time to be able to just start researching and seeing what it is you want to do. But I do think that you need to take care of yourself first. I think that's really, really important. Even if it's just sitting down and meditating for 10 minutes, whatever it might be, self-care is really important. Otherwise, you're just not going to be able to give to anything or to anyone. And you're going to deplete yourself.
Today's review comes from October Mama. I am currently binge listening to every episode that was just released, and I can't get enough. Camille is so real and genuine, keeps things lighthearted and fun, but also hits some real issues and has a great point of view. I think this podcast is coming at a really great time when women are seeking encouragement and inspiration to follow their passions and feel like they can work, create, lead, while also being there for their children and families and being an amazing example to them. Well, thank you so much, October Mama. That is nailed the nail on the head. Exactly what it is that I want to do here. And the fact that it inspired you inspires me to keep going. Thank you so much for your review. It absolutely means the world. I actually just put together a freemium that all of you can access. It's free. It's the 6 steps to take for a successful morning. And a lot of it is just taking a minute for exercise, meditation, writing something down, and reading something, really nourishing your mind. And I think that all of those steps that you talked about really allow us to fuel ourselves and our creative energy and also our soul so that we have something to give back to our families and our kids. And I love that you talked about really being in a zone where when your kids were at school, that you were so excited to sit down and create and be involved in that process, because that's what it takes. I mean, the launch of a business is so intense, but if you can be so passionate about it and it fills you up, it doesn't matter that it's intense because it feels so good. And I think that that's something to keep in mind, is that balance in check. Would you agree?
Absolutely. And I do feel that if you are not excited about it when you wake up and you are not passionate about it, then you might want to look at something else, because it does take up a lot of you and it can deplete you at times. So you have to really love it and really want it and know that it's not going to be easy. It's going to be tough, and it may make it and it may not. But if it fills your void, that's really all that matters. I mean, unless you really need this to make a lot of money really fast, and that I just don't even know if that's out there. I just think that the most important thing is that it fills a void in you, and that it not a void, but I think like that it just excites you, and that it really gets you going in the morning. I mean, I couldn't wait to sit down and start working. And I think that's what you have to find. You have to make sure that's where you're going, because it is a big time commitment.
So it really is.
Yeah. If you're going to give up something for your family, a little bit of their time, then you need to make sure you really love it.
Yeah. And I agree that, in the beginning, especially, you don't have to be a perfect person doing whatever it is, the thing that you want to do. You have to be a messy beginning before you can be a perfect or a better later. It's all about just starting and getting there and getting into that creative process. I love hearing that. It sounds like you have very successful children that know what they want and they're going after those things. I mean, a doctor, that's amazing. And your daughter is now in college. Tell me about how your business has affected them.
I think that I always wanted to be a good role model for them. I wanted them to see that that you can have it all, that you can have your family and you can have your passion and you can have your business. And I worked up until my son was 2 in the non-for-profit world in an office. And then I decided that then I started doing consulting myself. And then I stopped because I wanted to be a stay-at-home mom. I wanted to be the room mom. I wanted to do all those things. If you can do that, it's such a small, I blink, I can't believe my son, is already in medical school and my daughter is already, it's insane. But if you can do that, it's important. And then I think there's so much time left to devote to do, following your passions. So I do, I think that I think they're proud of me. I think they're excited that my daughter gets annoyed every time that I grab her. Oh, can you, she's my perfect model. Yeah. She's been home for a long time. So I've been using her a lot. I think she's happy to go back up to school, but I think they're there. I think it's really important for your children to see that, that you can do this. My husband is, he's the breadwinner and he's so supportive of me and he's so proud of me. And it means so much to me that sometimes he's got the heavy duty pressure and all that. And he's worrying about me and how, what my next obstacle is in my business. And I love that. He's really my CFO because if it were up to me, I would have a million different lines going on and a million different things. And he keeps me grounded and centered and tells me, you have to stay focused on this one thing because, it can get expensive to follow your passion. I can tell you that.
Absolutely. Well, I think it's been really inspiring to hear about that journey and how it's grown and developed with you, and that I love that you talk about taking that time to really appreciate when your kids are home because it does go so fast. I am right in the middle of that and it's shocking to me and I'm still in the middle of it. So I just really appreciate that you said that. If there is one golden nugget that you would pass along to someone in your position, maybe 10 years ago where they're thinking about doing something creative, whether it be art or design or jewelry or anything else, what advice would you give them if you could have given it to yourself 10 years ago?
Keep going. Keep going and don't get bogged down by all of the mundane. Don't look on social media and see all the success stories. They all have their trials and tribulations also there. It's not easy. It's not easy, but if you follow your path, just do what your gut tells you. Listen to your instincts. And I really, truly believe that because sometimes I just feel like, forget it. I'm done with this. I just can't go anymore. People don't like my stuff. And then the next day I'll have like all of these orders. It's just, just stay true to your passion and believe in yourself. It's so hard to believe in yourself, but you really need to. You need to really, and that all comes with the self-care is just take your time for yourself, believe in yourself. And if it's really meant to be, and if it's really something that you're passionate about, it's going to happen. It may take a while. And there is no one follows the same format. No one follows the same timeline. Don't go by anyone else's timeline. Every timeline is very personal. So what somebody else might tell you, oh, in 5 years, you're going to get here. And it's fine to have goals and it's fine to have a chart and write down what you would like. But I truly believe that if you work hard enough and if you really want it bad enough, it's going to happen. It's going to happen one way or another. But you really need to want it. You need to be able to put in the hard work. And if you're not willing to do that and you just want it, that's okay too. You can make it as big or as small as you want, but it all depends on how much time, energy, money you want to put into it. And just stay focused and just don't give up. That's really my golden nugget there.
I love it. That's so important. And I love that you said everyone's timeline is different because that is true. It's not like the formula of you start here and you end here. It's the ups and the downs and all around. So that really, really means a lot.
So I believe in women helping women. I'm fortunate to have friends and acquaintances that are in the industry that are either other designers or marketing gurus. And I love meeting them for coffee or just talking and sharing ideas and helping each other out, because I think that's what this is all about, is really being there for each other, helping each other. I'm the kind of person I don't care if you're in the same industry as I am. I want to help you. That's the kind of person I am. I want to help you. I want to help you grow. I'm not afraid of the competition. I'm not afraid. I really think it's important that we help each other. it's a tough industry, and the more we can help each other out and work and collaborate together, the better. In fact, I'm seeing a lot of collaborations now on Instagram where these different designers are collaborating together, and it's beautiful. It's a beautiful thing, and I want to be a part of that as much as possible, because I'm all for the collaboration and helping each other.
I agree. I think more than ever, it's rising tides that women can really lift each other up, and there's room enough for everyone. And in my experience, it's always been the times that I feel open and to receiving and giving is when I feel the happiest and I've had the most success. If I start to dip into a comparison trap, or I'm worried about what others are thinking, or I try to be too much like someone else, that's when I dip into a place that's not healthy for me or anyone else that I'm trying to serve. So I love that, and that it's really about that human to human connection, and that stands out. That makes your brand stand out.
Absolutely, Camille. I couldn't agree more. I couldn't agree more. When you start to go down that rabbit hole, it's ugly, and you don't feel good about yourself, and you don't feel good. I think I feel better when I'm working and collaborating and helping. That to me is it's, even if let's say you lose a sale because someone goes with someone else, it doesn't matter, because you're helping, and it fills your soul. And that's really what it's all about. So, and I appreciate that you're doing this, because what you do for emerging artists and designers is just, it's a great thing. So thank you for helping us spread our voice and get ourselves out there. So we can share this with all of your audience.
Well, you're welcome. It's truly an honor. And I've loved this journey so much because it has opened my doors and my eyes to so many incredible women doing amazing things. And that lights me up inside. So it really is an honor. I'm happy to do it.
Oh, that's wonderful. And one last thing I just wanted to share is that customer service is so important to me. I understand, now that we're moving more into, I don't have a bricks and mortar store. I'm mostly online. People in my vicinity will come and purchase, and I do have the ability to either deliver, or especially with COVID, people have done curbside pickups and delivery and that kind of thing. But that's more of a local type of thing. So it is hard, and I know, because I'm also a consumer, that it's hard to buy in an industry out there that's in the great unknown, the cyberspace. And so I truly believe in customer service. It's so important to me that my customers are happy, whether I know them or I don't know them. And I just wanted to let I hope that's portrayed through my website, through my Instagram, through my story. It's just important to me that customers are happy, and that they feel what I'm trying to portray, which is, the love, the happiness, all of that. It stems from the customer service and from the clothing, everything about us. So I am very grateful for the customers who put their faith in and do take the plunge and purchase from us, because we appreciate it, and we are there for you. We're not just a faceless company that isn't going to be there tomorrow. That's not going to happen.
That's awesome. And that matters. It shows in the way that you do it. So I really appreciate that.
Thank you.
Well, tell our audience where we can follow you and support you and buy your jewelry and your clothing.
Thank you. Well, I have a website, and it's Elizabeth-Wasserman.com. And the spelling of that, I guess, do I need to spell it out, or?
We'll link to it in the show notes.
Link to it. So it's Elizabeth-Wasserman.com. I'm on Instagram, Elizabeth Wasserman Jewelry, and Facebook, Elizabeth Wasserman Jewelry. So you can find me on any of those. I am also, my phone number is on there if you ever wanted to call me. I love talking to my customers. I love helping you find that perfect gift for yourself or for somebody else. And I'm always happy to talk to my customers, either by email. You can also email me at info@elizabeth-wasserman.com. And thank you so much. Thank you, Camille. Thank you for having me on your podcast. I'm very, very honored to be a part of this.
Oh, well, I appreciate it. It's been wonderful having you here. And for those of you who are listening, please comment, let us know what you liked about the show. And we will be here again next week, same time, same place. We can't wait to talk to you then. Thank you so much for tuning into today's episode of Call Me CEO. If you found it helpful or inspiring, I would love it if you shared it with a friend. And also, I would love it if you came and joined me on Instagram at Call Me CEO Podcast, where you can join other like-minded mamas like you who are looking to step up in their lives and make it even better. Thank you so much, and I will see you next week.